Hello, and welcome to another episode of You Suck at AI. So what we're going to be doing today is diving into one of my favorite tools, Superwhisper. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know I use this all the time. And these days, I'm barely typing on my keyboard because I just transcribe everything. So let me just explain roughly what Superwhisper does before we dive into a demonstration and then a sort of guide in terms of how to set this up. So what the app does in its simplest description is it just transcribes your voice, and you can do that anywhere in any application. So let me show you a quick demo. Imagine I'm working here in V0 and I have been creating this web page. Fantastic. And I actually have been doing it by just stealing design elements from this page. And so let's say I wanted to add this header because my page currently doesn't have a header. What I do is I just take a screenshot over here. I add that here. And then now instead of typing, I'm just going to describe some stuff. I want you to add this header to the page as a separate component. Instead of the careers page though in the screenshot, I just want you to remove that. So just remove the careers link. And then instead of the join waitlist, make that a sign up button. Cool, and there we go. I just hit shortcut keys to start and stop the recording. And you can see there it just transcribed my voice fairly accurately. Nice, and let's see how it does with the prompt. There we go. There is our header. Fantastic. Okay, but there are other use cases for this as well. So what is done in this instance is just transcribe my voice directly, right? Which is kind of what you would expect from a transcription service. But you can do other things too. For example, let's say you are doing email, right? So I've got this email over here, which is pretty exciting actually, and I've been selected to join GitHub Copilot training on the 14th of November. Sweet. So to confirm my attendance, I need to let them know and reply to this email. Okay, great. So I need to reply. So what do? I could obviously type a response, or I could use Superwhisper. So for example, I could say, hey, Andrea, thank you very much for this invitation. I would love to accept this. I did have a couple of questions. When is the training going to be happening and at what time? Okay, so this is nice, right? So I saved myself the effort of typing this all out, but it does have a problem, which is I still need to format this, right? So if there's a comma after hey, I would need to spend a little bit of time formatting this. What if I just could speak and it reformats it automatically into an email? And that's what Superwhisper allows you to do. It's got different modes. So I'll quickly switch to the email mode and then respond in the same way. Thank you so much, Andrea. I'm very excited about this invitation. I would love to attend. I did have a question though. What time is the training going to happen, and how long is it going to be? And what it's done now is it is going to format this in a much nicer way. There we go. I did have a question though. What time is training going to be, and how long is it going to be? Fantastic. Nice. Now you might be wondering, how exactly do I set Superwhisper up? Let me show you. Great. So here we've got the settings page for Superwhisper, and we're in the modes section. And you could previously see where I switched to the email mode. There are a bunch of different modes, and you can create your own modes. The mode I use the most, I call No Funny Business, and it does kind of what you would imagine a transcription app to do, which is it takes my voice and it turns it into text. But there are instances where you'd want to do something more than that. For example, in the email mode I showed you earlier, it did a bit of formatting that the basic mode didn't do. So how exactly does it do that? Well, after it transcribes your voice, what you can do is you can send that text to an LLM. In this case, I'm sending it to GPT-4o Mini, and I'm running a prompt. And this is the prompt. Reformat the following text, structure it for email communication, include a greeting and sign off, etc., etc. And you can customize this, so you can make your own modes and write your own prompts and then do pretty damn amazing things. In addition to that, I also enable this setting, use copy text for email. And what this allows me to do is I get to just copy another email. So let's say, pretend this is an email, I copy this, and then if I start a transcription, it will take the email that I just copied as context. So maybe the spelling of certain words, whatnot, can all be taken into context when I'm using this. So pretty damn amazing what you can do with Superwhisper. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail on the other modes I have, but one thing I wanted to point out, if you do decide to get Superwhisper, one of the things you do is you choose a transcription model. So this is the AI model that is transcribing your voice. And they're kind of two different types. So some of them run in the cloud and some of them run on your local computer. Now, if you have a very fast, M3 Max computer, then, it's totally worth running some of these things locally. What I do is I run a model in the cloud. And you get to choose one that's just included with your Superwhisper subscription called Nova 2. I use a new model that I added myself from OpenAI, which is the official Whisper API, and I found that to be pretty good. And sometimes I use the API from Grok. But you don't need to use these. You could just use Nova 2. It's pretty damn good. No issues with that. Cool, and that's the basics of Superwhisper. I highly recommend you use this app. If you feel like a different kind of app, maybe for whatever reason you don't like Superwhisper, or if you have a Windows computer, you can try Bolt AI. I wouldn't say that Bolt AI is a competitor to Superwhisper, and it's actually more accurate to say that it's an alternative to ChatGPT or Claude. The main thing it does is it's an app that allows you to have conversations with Claude and ChatGPT and really any LLM inside one application. It's pretty cool, actually. But in addition to their main app, they also have a bunch of utilities, one of which is speech to text. And so you can think of that as my version, my model, no funny business. You can't run your voice through an LLM after you've transcribed, and it has a bunch of other limitations, but it does work pretty well. And then in addition to that, if you, let's say, just have the ChatGPT app, remember that even though it's not on the web version, on the desktop version, there is this transcription button. And if you click there, anything you say will be transcribed. Obviously, this is limited to the ChatGPT interface. But, if you're just, let's say you're rambling about, you're just trying to get a Google Doc together and you're working on a presentation and you just want to get your thoughts down, you could just do it in here and transcribe everything. And then there it is. So imagine you just have a 5-minute brain dump about what you're doing. Then what you could do is you could just process this in the same way. You can kind of manually do what I'm doing with Superwhisper. Cool. Anyways, hope this has been useful. Please try this transcription thing out. I know it's a little bit awkward the first few times. Thinking and speaking is not natural for everybody, but just practice this. It is so worthwhile.